Hello my dear friends, you're on the Military Summary channel. In this video we're going to discuss the most important events that took place in the world during the previous 12 hours. We have lots of very interesting updates, so let's start. The Russians are saying that currently they're observing the largest energy crisis in the world in the last 40 years, and this crisis is taking place due to the conflict on the territory of the Middle East. And I would like to remind you that yesterday the conflict entered the next phase. The conflict escalated, and that happened as a result of the coalition's attack on the largest gas fields on the territory of Iran. Here we can see the consequences of that attack. Strikes have hit Iran's largest gas field, South Path. Phases from 3 to 6 have been taken out of operation, with significant damage to infrastructure reported. Iran stated that energy facilities in the Persian Gulf are now considered legitimate targets and warned citizens of Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and Qatar to leave refineries immediately. And right after this warning notification was issued, the authorities of the Persian Gulf states began evacuation from the biggest and the largest objects of energy infrastructure which are located in the area of the Persian Gulf. First of all, we are talking about the city of Al Jabwal. We have a lot of the biggest, probably the largest oil refinery and object of energy infrastructure. And according to the warning notification, the Iranians were planning to attack this territory overnight. The second place with this warning notification is the state of Qatar. There are two industrial cities. Ras Laffan industrial city, which is located in the northern parts of Qatar, and here we have also Mesayed industrial city, which is located in the southern parts of Qatar. And these two industrial cities received warning notification. And the third area is the southern parts of the United Arab Emirates. Here we can see a gas field. Here we have a hosting gas field of the United Arab Emirates. So the Middle East states finished the evacuation, and the Iranians began bombing and attacking these territories with ballistic missiles and drones. And probably the Iranians dealt the biggest damage to the Ras Laffan industrial city. We received lots of pictures and videos exactly from this area. Here we can see Ras Laffan industrial city, Qatar. A fire is seen at the Pearl GTL, the world's largest gas to liquids plant, and the Ras Laffan condensate refinery operated by Qatar Energy following an Iranian missile attack. Right after this attack, the authorities of Qatar made lots of statements. Qatar declares Iranian military and security attaché persona non grata. Another important thing, Qatar Energy statement on missile attack on Ras Laffan industrial city. Qatar Energy confirms that Ras Laffan industrial city this evening has been the subject of missile attacks. Emergency response teams were deployed immediately to contain the resulting fires, as extensive damage has been caused. All personnel have been accounted for, and no casualties have been reported at this time. So this is the Ras Laffan industrial city, and this is the next picture that was published this morning. Here we can see the maps with fire anomalies, and as you can see, a very big part of this Ras Laffan industrial city was covered with fire, which means that the Iranians managed to deal significant damage to this area. So another important thing, that the state of Qatar expresses its strong condemnation and the denunciation of the blatant Iranian attack targeting Ras Laffan industrial city, which caused fires resulting in significant damage to the facility. So this is the statement of Qatar. Another important thing, that during the previous nights the Iranians also attacked the territory of Saudi Arabia. But if you remember, according to the warning notification that was issued by the Iranians, they were planning to attack the city of Al Jabwal with its oil refineries and chemical plants. But the Iranians attacked the city of Riyadh itself, and we have lots of videos, fire anomalies and pictures from the southeastern parts of the city. Here we can see, for example, the fire that took place right after the Iranians attacked this territory. But I would like to remind you that no warning notification was issued by the Iranians, so which means that for some reason the Iranians decided to change their plans when they were planning to attack this city and this industrial complex. The sources are saying that the Iranians managed to deal significant damage to this industrial object, and here we can see large fires at the industrial zone number 2 in Saudi Arabia following Iranian missile strikes. Another important area that was attacked by the Iranians is the western part of Saudi Arabia, and we are talking about the city of Masahilia. Here we have also the biggest plant, the biggest object of energy infrastructure of Saudi Arabia that Saudi Arabia uses for the export purposes. Gas facilities caught fire after an Iranian attack. So these are the moments when the Iranians were attacking this object of energy infrastructure. And here we have fire at the Yanbu oil refinery, and the sources are saying that this oil refinery received significant damage. But there is a very important detail that I would like to point your attention. So when the Iranians blocked the Persian Gulf and the Strait of Hormuz, basically they not just blocked these, let's say, waters, basically they blocked the export of Kuwait, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates and Kuwait from the east of these states. But when talking about Saudi Arabia, they still had many places how to export oil and gas, and they were using this Yanbu infrastructure for these purposes. And the coalitions decided to bring their aircraft carrier group in this area with the purpose to support this territory and to protect this port infrastructure against the Iranian missiles and drones. We are talking about U.S. Gerald R. Ford Airstrike Carrier Group, and obviously the Saudi Arabia and the coalitions were using this aircraft carrier for air defense purposes, because this aircraft carrier has aircrafts on board, and so they were using this to protect this infrastructure. But I would like to remind you that we started receiving reports that the U.S. aircraft carrier suffered some problems on board, and the U.S. authorities were forced to redeploy this aircraft carrier from this territory in the direction of the island of Crete. So most likely the aircraft carrier left this territory, and due to the fact that aircraft carrier left this territory, this infrastructure has become unprotected. So that is why the Iranians decided to test the air defense of this region, and they began attacking this territory. And now the Iranians know that this area is completely unprotected without air defense forces, which means that most likely in coming days the Iranians, or in coming hours, the Iranians will repeat attacks on this object of energy infrastructure of Saudi Arabia. And all these attacks are doing just one thing: they're pushing prices higher. Another important thing is another round of escalation in the area of the Strait of Hormuz. During the previous night, we received reports that few more tankers were attacked to the east of United Arab Emirates in the area of Gulf of Oman. So as you can see, this tanker has nothing common with the Strait of Hormuz or with the Persian Gulf, but this fact doesn't stop the Iranians attack vessels in this area. So that is why they attacked this tanker 11 kilometers from the city of Horfakan to the east. Another important thing is that during the previous night we received fresh satellite pictures where we can see that few more vessels and tankers were damaged and destroyed in the area of the Persian Gulf. And the most important thing, that these vessels were attacked by Navy of Iran. I would like to remind you that the President of the United States of America several days ago stated that the United States destroyed the Navy forces of Iran, but it seems not every single boat was destroyed. Here we can see fast boat Navy is back after Trump's Navy retreats. Each boat can carry 2 cruise missiles types, Chinese missiles and raiders, and these boats, it seems, attacked this vessel that was trying to cross the Strait of Hormuz. So this is the situation, and once again all these attacks are doing just one thing: they're pushing the prices higher. And this morning we continue receiving updates on the oil prices. According to sources, Brent crude price at 2 a.m. was on the level of $113.41 per barrel, and this is the biggest price. We see that currently nothing can stop these prices, oil prices, and they're moving higher and higher and higher. So that is why the United States of America are forced to think how to start the ground operation. Currently, there are several scenarios that the United States of America considers. The first one, how to declare victory and to leave the territory of the Persian Gulf. The first one is to take physical control, is to establish physical control over the Strait of Hormuz, which means that the United States of America would be forced to land their forces on the Iranian bank of shore of the Strait of Hormuz and establish physical control. And the second scenario, how to announce the victory, is to take under complete control the Iranian enriched uranium. So two options. Now the President of the United States of America trying to understand which option is better. At the same time, the Pentagon has asked the White House to approve a funding request of over $200 billion for the war in Iran. So which means that despite the fact that the United States of America will land infantry probably within the next 20 days, they will launch the ground operation within the next 20 days. It seems that the coalition is planning to fight with Iran for the next 2 or 3 months with this budget. Now let's return back to Russia and to Ukraine. During the previous 24 hours, lots of updates we received from this area as well. The Ukrainians continue attacking the territory of the Russian Federation, sending hundreds of drones in the direction of the southern parts of Russia. This picture was published by pro-Ukrainian sources this night, and here we can see hundreds of drones flying in the southern direction. The Russians are saying that they managed to destroy every single drone that was flying in the direction of the southern part of Russia. Especially lots of drones were destroyed over Krasnodar Krai and in the area of the Black Sea. But despite the fact that the Russians are saying that they managed to destroy almost everything, this morning we received lots of videos where we can see the first consequences of this attack. According to pro-Ukrainian sources, the building of the Almaz Antey concern was attacked by drones tonight in Sevastopol. This very important object of military infrastructure, the Russians use this plant to develop and produce air defense weapons. Another important video was published by Ukrainians, by special forces. Here we can see probably one of the waves of attack that took place during the previous days. Here we can see how Ukrainians using just small drones were attacking objects of air defense infrastructure of the Russian Federation on the territory of Crimea. And as you can see, the Ukrainians managed to deal significant damage. The Russians lost control over the Black Sea. They can't do anything with this, and the only possible solution for Russians how to secure the Black Sea and how to secure air defense infrastructure in the area of Crimea is to create a secure zone in the Black Sea, something like this. But for these purposes, they need to have developed Navy technologies, Navy drones technologies, and according to information we have, either the Russians are developing this technology or maybe they even are not doing anything like this. So the Russians first need to get this technology before making first steps in the area of the Black Sea with the purpose to secure this territory against the Ukrainian drones. Furthermore, the Russians continue attacking objects of energy infrastructure through the entire territory of Ukraine. The Ukrainians are saying that during the previous night, the Russians launched 133 drones to attack the territory of Ukraine. The Ukrainians are saying that they managed to destroy 109 drones, but the rest managed to hit targets through the territory of Ukraine. The Russians attacked the city of Odessa, and the sources are saying that the Russians were attacking the city of Odessa using 26 drones. So that was a very big attack, and the Russians were trying to destroy objects of energy infrastructure and objects of port infrastructure. Furthermore, this video was published by several pro-Russian sources. Here we can see how the Russians were attacking objects of energy infrastructure through the territory of Ukraine in 3 different places. This is the city of Zaporizhia, the southern parts of Kherson region, and the city of Kharkiv. Furthermore, the Russians continued attacking the city of Zaporizhia, and the sources are saying that this morning very heavy explosions were recorded in the northwestern parts of the city, which means that most likely the Russians attacked this substation. So we see that the Russians continue destroying energy infrastructure of Ukraine with the purpose to reduce, first of all, the Ukrainian logistic capabilities, because as we discussed during the previous videos, the Russians right now are trying to take under complete control the city of Orekhov, and for these purposes the Russians launched their Orekhov offensive operation. So the Russian forces are indeed significantly strengthened the sector immediately south of Orekhov. They would probably like to capture Novopavlovka, Novoandreevka, Novodanilovka, and Malotokmachka, then bring their drones there to control the supplies going in and out of Orekhov, just as several military experts expected would happen several weeks ago. Now let's move further. And let's discuss the situation in the Dobropolye direction. During the previous night, additional changes on the ground were recorded in this area as well. So this is the end of the 18th of March, and this is the beginning of the 19th of March. As you can see, the Russians, after they finished the battle for the settlement of Grushina, began moving in the northern direction, in direction of the settlements of Shevchenka and Dobropolye. And now the Russians are also moving along M30 road in the direction of the settlement of Sergeyevka. I would like to remind you that several days ago we received the report that Russians answered the settlement of Sergeyevka from the southeastern part, which means that now the Russians most likely will continue advancing in this area, in this direction, with the purpose to establish complete control over the settlement of Sergeyevka, which will allow the Russians to outflank Ukraine's positions in the area of Mizhova and further in the southern direction towards the settlements of Novopavlovka, Gavrilovka, Velika Mikhailovka, and Pokrovska. So the Russians are beginning the Dnipropetrovsk offensive operation with the purpose to maintain the lines first of all. Now let's move further and let's talk about the Kupyansk direction. During the previous night, pro-Russian sources published a very interesting video. So the author of this video claims that here we can see Russian soldiers that were moving through the central part of the settlement of Kovsharovka, and the author of this video stated that the Russians were searching for sabotage and reconnaissance groups of the armed forces of Ukraine that were hiding in basements under the control of drones that were flying above Russian units. So in this video we can see two Russian soldiers that were moving in the central part of Kovsharovka. So telling the truth, many mappers based on these videos adjusted their maps. We have added some corrections as well, but telling the truth from this angle, it's very difficult to understand whether these soldiers are Russian or Ukrainian soldiers. So that is why we believe that we need to wait for several days more, because if the Russians indeed can move through the settlement of Kovsharovka without any danger, without any risk from the Ukrainian side, then most likely we can say that the battle for the northern Kupyansk direction, for the eastern bank of the river Oskil, have finished. The Russians most likely managed to establish complete control over the territory, and in coming days the map will be adjusted significantly. And that's it for the short video. The Military Summary channel reminds to we condemn any violence in the world. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel, put your likes, join my Patreon, and have a good day. Bye bye.